Hjärtligt välkomna till Ship of a New Story. Welcome to Ship of a New Story. This is a conversation held in English, and we're actually doing what must be done right now. We're talking about how can we connect hubs. So this day is dedicated to co-creation, and in this dialogue we will explore, and we will also dedicate maybe ourselves to how can we move forward in connecting hubs and why is that important. And I would like to say hello to everyone. First of all, you on YouTube or following us there, and to my partners here in this dialogue. We have Lotta Axelsson, we have Dimitrij Alesjkov, we have Bert-Ola Bergstrand and Katarina Chowra, and my name is Stellan Nordahl, and I will be the facilitator in this dialogue. That means that I can also have an opinion here. I'm not just moderating. I'm part of the dialogue, so I'm so glad to be part of it. And first of all, I would like us all to reflect on, what has been my my biggest maybe takeaways from connecting hubs. A personal reflection as a check-in. Who wants to go first?
I can go first.
Yes, please, Lotta.
I think it's really awesome when you are able to connect different perspectives, and you get a good reminder of that we are all very limited of our own references. So you can really connect and create magic when we get together, because I think every knowledge is about experience, and we need to share that. So that's my different perspective, and be reminded of that. The most important, the biggest problem is you don't know what you don't know.
That's interesting. Just short for us, Lotta. A lot of people haven't met you until now. Your connection to connecting hubs is you've been connecting a lot of hubs. And
yes, I've been working with open innovation at Ideon Open. I've been working with business development at SLU Alnarp. I've been working with innovation and strategy and insight for 25 years, both at the consultant and in big international companies and startups.
Okay, thanks. Who wants to go next? What is your personal wow with connecting hubs? Yes, Katarina, don't forget to unmute yourself now.
Yes,
thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I can just add on to what Lotta says, because I totally agree with that. I think the importance, especially nowadays, to share insights and learnings with each other is so important, to speed up innovation, to speed up the pace so we can shift and innovate faster and learn faster.
And you have also been engaged in different hubs?
Yes, I've been working at Uppsala Innovation Center for several years. I have been based in Nordic Innovation House in Silicon Valley. And nowadays I work mostly with startups and also with established companies, and help them to work faster, work as startups, and be more innovative. So I really see the need to exchange insights, exchange learnings from each other. I think it's so important.
Thank you very much, Katarina. Who wants to go next?
I can do.
Dimitrij, it's all yours.
Thank you. I think my biggest takeaway is that it's by connecting hubs and people, there will be a little bit different mathematics behind it. It will be not 1 + 1 2. It will be 1 + 1 3 or 4 5, and this is really powerful things. And I've been working with connecting people quite a lot. Everything from Mink, where I was mentor, or Think Accelerator, or Mind Park, or Hedge, or other things. And also I've been working with one really cool project that First Municipality Accelerator, which is really cool, because it's not only on startup level, but it's also starting to be on municipality level, that they're trying to create hubs where they attract people and try to connect to different startups.
Which municipality is this?
It's Helsingborg municipality.
Okay, in Sweden. Thank you very much. Bert-Ola, you and I go first?
Yeah, I can go. I have a bit of personal wow. I don't know if it's a wow, but at least a takeoff. First of all, I can say I'm a sort of a system entrepreneur. I have been weaving hubs and between the new economy and the traditional economy the last 10, 15 years, and the last 7, 8 years between digital and physical places. And my personal wow around this goes back 10 years when I started to experiment with social media. And, you know, as many others, and when Facebook and Twitter and all this was quite early, I wanted to see how you could connect these two fields. And I connected randomly with a guy in Japan around 2010. And yeah, that was at the time when you had just the family around and the small friends. But he was one of the first I really connected outside my bubble in Sweden. And yeah, we started to have a conversation, and he responded, yeah, can I come and visit you and have a green tea? And I thought he was crazy. This can't be real or something. And not much happened of that. And a few months later, if I recall, he said, I'm on my way. And it turned out that he was, just a few weeks after that, he was lying in my sofa in Gothenburg. And we started to experiment. He was literally looking for innovation systems in Europe and US, so he was on a tour. So then I realized that just to click a simple Facebook ad, friend request, can lead to something. So that was one of the early signals of starting to understand this.
Do you still have this person in your? Yeah.
Yes.
So
in fact, it's when we went to Japan 2 years back to have a recall with him, and yeah, so it's very interesting to see 10 years later what has happened.
I will go for my personal wow with connecting hubs, which is actually very close to what we do now. We're doing an extended version of Almedalen. We call it in Swedish Almenadalen, or in English Commons Valley, a way of connecting all sorts of hubs. And I will say, of course, you have to feel that you're invited in some way. And just right now, we are 5 people with a lot of both knowledge and ideas concerning how hubs can work in the future, how they have been working, and also what outcome that can be. And of course, when it says connecting hubs, I knew more or less that those were the people who will be interested in those questions. So you have to feel invited. But the thing is, when you're in such a environment that we are right now, we are actually on a ship of a new story. We can connect with the other dots of the other hubs that are already present on the ship. So that's my biggest wow when I came to Almedalen first time in 2016, where I was supposed to moderate a big innovation arena. And I was really baffled by what a fantastic environment with people who are so engaged, and they can connect and they can share experiences and thoughts and ideas. So that's my personal wow in this. Well, actually, when we checked in, more or less, we dealt with the question about why this is important. And then the next question would be, why don't we do it more often? What do you say? What is the limitation here? Because otherwise, I mean, of course, we can't have like Commons Valley every week, but maybe every other week or once a month, or I don't know. You do this for a living, Bert-Ola. Please, couldn't you just give us some thoughts on that? You're a weaver.
Well, I have some ideas at least. Why we don't do it more often? I think one, from a scientific, I had also one foot in academy. I was at School of Business in Gothenburg around these issues. I mean, one very simple, like we end up becoming sort of the silos, and this is very normal we call it homophilio theory in sociology, that we tend to navigate or gravitate to become with people we know. And this is like a force that is out there. So when to become a weaver, or we'll say bridging social capital or bridging networks, we need to become aware of the network effects or how to go outside your bubble. So it will not, you need a conscious understanding of be a good weaver. That's one of the whys. It's not happening more often from a scientific point of view. And then you need to invest when you get a bit of understanding of the effects of going outside your bubble. You need to invest in that systematically and put, maybe depending on how much you want to invest in new contexts, certain minutes a day or hours a week or whatever. It depends a little bit on what your aim is with this. I don't say, I mean, like a private person, it's maybe you do it some minutes a week, but if you're a professional weaver, you do it maybe several hours a day. So it all depends what role you have in this, in what you try to accomplish, I would say. Right now, I'm weaving different cities in Norway, 12 cities and 3 regions. We set up a UN platform in Norway, in Trondheim, in smart sustainable cities and communities. So right now, that's very much of what I do, part of building and designing an ecosystem for that.
What do you call your job? Weaver?
A weaver, facilitator, navigator, it's different roles. System entrepreneur, I'm sort of, that's what I do. I integrate, design and activate systems.
What do we have to think and say about this? I know you and I, Lotta, we have had a lot of dialogues during the years here about the system itself. I would say my experience is that it's a big bubble. That's my and nothing breaks out of it, or more or less. And the bubble is, I mean, we're maybe not here to define the problems because we have all experienced it, but we also have to look at the system itself, the financing system and so on. What are your thoughts on that?
I think, if I can say, I think that what you said goes for a lot of systems in our societies of today, and many of them are created during for a word that is not existing anymore. So we need to, maybe we can't really fix the old systems. We need to start from scratch, I think, and build new systems. I totally agree with Bert-Ola as well, where you need to focus on this, but you also need to maybe promote and measure it for people, because what drives behavior on an individual level is how you've been treated in your context and what is seen in your context. And I think that's the biggest hurdle of today, that you do what is expected from you and what you are measured on. That drives your behavior.
And then we're actually talking about entrepreneurial hubs, and that's the strange thing here, which really don't go. I can't really get it actually. What are your Katarina? Please, do you have to unmute yourself again? That's your little extra trick there. Do you find it? Yes, thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to add on to what Lotta just mentioned, because I totally think that there need to be some kind of system for different hubs to connect with each other, because nowadays I feel that a lot find it a bit that it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of energy, and they don't always feel that they get something back from it. And some things that hubs believe that they have more insight than the rest. So there's like an old belief of that competition is important, that we have done more and maybe we are not so willing to share with others. So I think that absolutely that there should be some kind of metrics and indicators that each hub can follow up how much they get from each other. And I think really can set aside time to get up a system that works for them. How can we share insight with each other in an efficient way?
Because if you don't value it, it will probably never happen. And one living example of this is that right now I'm standing at the Ideon in Lund, which is such an hub. How many in this dialogue are actually working? I'm not working with the hub itself, so I'm just here for the ship, so there wasn't time, there wasn't money, there wasn't not even for a lunch break dialogue. So, and that's interesting, because this is everything has that are measured will be valued, and if we don't measure it, it won't be valued. So maybe that's the first step. I don't know.
Yeah, and especially since you mentioned innovation systems, and we as a country are quite small, so, and we have a lot of different hubs with different knowledge. So for instance, compared to Silicon Valley, I think we need to be better in sharing insight so we can keep up the pace. I mean, we have compared to them not like a much smaller volume of startups in different areas. So I think that's so important if we want to keep on contributing to the world.
What's the follow up on that? I mean, you can unmute yourself all the time. I'm just here to see that that we do that, so we don't talk without unmuting ourselves. So feel free now to just weave this conversation.
I can add from myself a little bit. I work a lot with connecting hubs to each other. I live partly in Helsingborg and partly in Berlin, where I try to get entrepreneurs and hubs to visit each other to understand what they're working with, which for me it's really important, just because when I work with different startups, I see that they're doing almost the same things, and if they unite, they would be much more powerful instead of doing what I'm missing usually is some type of transparency where people are share what they learned about. There's some kind of events like Fucked Up Nights in different big cities where startups are like talking about their failure, which usually unites people quite a lot, just because they can learn a lot of things from some stories and share them. But I think almost everything is going back to people where fear of interconnection, fear of leaving your space where you build that is what we need to work with. There are not so many startups for example, in Helsingborg. They just like bought a ticket and got to Berlin or to Riga or to Tallinn for like 4 days and get to another hub and start to interact there. And this is, I think, different hubs need to start to work with.
And I also would like to follow up what Katarina says. It's this competition. We have been taught that is something that develops organizations and ideas and so on. And I wouldn't say that it's not true. It's surely true on some level. The first problem here is that when you compete, you have to focus a lot on competition. And then on the next level, isn't it like hubs compete to each other, Lotta? You have seen a lot of that. I mean, there, at least in Sweden, there is a system where you get financed, and I spoke a lot to the people here at Ideon, and they're like messed up with the system because they don't get out of they're like stuck in this this box in some way.
I think it's really hard to be an entrepreneur and to understand the system in Sweden at the starting point. But I also think it's not all about connecting different innovation hubs. It's about connecting other parts of society as well, because going back to diversity and being limited by own references, we need to have collaborations over sectors and with the municipalities, as you talked about, and with the big companies and small companies. And so, because we are all very alike maybe in the startup, we are too narrowed as well.
Yeah, I can follow up on that. I had a fantastic panel first day on the ship. We were sailing electrical ferry between two countries, Sweden and Denmark, and broadcasted from this ship. And the dialogue we had, or that panel, was about Commons Valley. And one of the ideas there was, okay, so we don't need a democratic arena. In this case, it was about Almedalen and Almenadalen. How can we really use this idea of the commons. How can we engage in this type of arenas, and not one arena, not a democratic arena or one way of connecting, in this case, as you said, Lotta, innovation hubs. It's actually how can we get all parts of society and people from all around the world. And right now we have the fantastic opportunity, I would say, to really do that. And what are your experiences? I know, Bert-Ola, that you are a digital, like, I don't know, digital, whatever you call it, but you're actually broadcasting all the time, everything you do and people you meet and really. But the rest of us, we're like, no, I'm here in my little world, and I can definitely connect, but I don't spread that connection.
Well, it's something that I'm experimenting a lot about. I mean, I told about the story 10 years back when I met this Japanese guy. Then I realized, at least I got an understanding that this is powerful, but I didn't know at all how to use it. So after that, it has been like an ongoing experimentation of how to bridge digital and local in different ways. And it's like a continuous learning there where it's evolving. But just going back to a little bit what you said, I think we are in this transformation, and I'm sure all of you would agree that there's hubs and platforms and all over the place. For example, in Norway now we have in this city network, we have 6 levels of processes. So we weave everything from learning networks at city level down to hub level and so forth. And we measure like this, what we call the thriving society today. So we also integrate different capitals in how to look at different qualities of network. So there's a lot of research out there of how to use and look at the knowledge economy. We have one very famous name in the Nordics, and I was part of his lab just 2 hours back, the global lab with Leif Edvinsson and Japan Innovation and Netherlands and what they do on this. And 2 days back, I was part of the Global Leadership Academy in Germany, who work also with MIT, with Otto Scharmer and Peter Senge. And the third with Ross Hall and Weaver Academy, which brings out of Ashoka, which have 30 meta networks around this. So all over the planet, it's like exploding with this new initiative. So I think we will find ways of how to start to organize and to also find mechanisms to finance. For example, NSPRL in New Zealand, or the old network in US called the Be Localist, which is called Commonwealth now. They already have like integrated with tens of thousands of small businesses and network approaches. So it's like a learning here. But what I would see is missing in the Nordic ecosystems is we don't have done, what I know, a really good updated mapping on the hubs and the ecosystem. So Ross Hall, for example, he makes a map now with 35, 40 meta networks. So you start to understand and get the picture of not only sort of the traditional ecosystem with science parks or kunskapshagar, as we say in Norway and so forth, but also the new emergent practices that is out there. So make a map of what's going on.
I just got an idea here. It was Lotta, you tricked me again in a new idea, because you said you have to have those connections not only between those innovation hubs, it's between various parts of society, schools, workplaces, I don't know, whatever. Couldn't it be of interest to take the knowledge you have, Bert-Ola, and the rest of us, of course, also, because we are all like we are in our bubble now. We want to connect hubs and go to, like, I don't know. Now this is on an idea level now. So, but maybe engage young people at the school to engage them in connecting hubs and the idea of how it works and get that mindset into we can test bed that, I don't know, during this autumn if we like, or something. Do you understand what I mean? I mean, take the knowledge about connecting hubs that we have gathered. I mean, Dimitrij, you do it on a daily basis. Lotta, you have done it for many years, and Katarina, I don't know you very well, but I realize that you have done it on an international scale, and Bert-Ola, you travel the world. Both tell the stories, but also do it. I mean, test bed together with schools. Connect schools to innovation hubs, schools to elderly places, I don't know. But this cross-function, cross borders, cross whatever. Katarina, just go for it. You have to unmute yourself. We can't help you on that.
Sorry. Well, I just got an idea why you shared your ideas regarding connecting hubs. And that is the importance of system awareness. And that is something I would like to see that that even children start to learn about in quite young age, how to think in systems, and also how our different hubs could be more concrete in their vision and in their mission, because I think that would make it more easier to connect different hubs with the same what could you say, with the same purpose to each other.
Yeah, if you find the purpose that is common, then you could actually co-create. That would be a great experience, I would say, and a great idea. I'm just thinking here, Lotta, you and I, we had an idea a couple of years ago about TEDx in here in this region. Then I've been thinking of this format for a lot of years, and I think it's a fantastic format in one way, in another one it's very limited. What if we did like, what if what we do right now would be in a TEDx format? Isn't that something interesting? Instead of one person talking to an audience, have some kind of interconnection. Isn't that actually connecting dots and connecting hubs? I don't know if that's a format, but that's one way to tell a story that is already present in the previous paradigm, and we can update it to a new paradigm, and we could take the knowledge we have in innovation, because I believe even if it's innovation today, I believe it is in a bubble. It's still a curious bubble that wants to expand and want to engage in more ways, and a school project or something like that would be fantastic if we want to dedicate us to something like that. I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas here. I don't. Well, I need action. I love that. I would love to have. I know, Dimitrij, you've been working a lot with different types of hackathons and stuff like that, and maybe that's a format. I don't know. We have to do something.
I can just connect to that, just because when I started to work for HBG Works, which is first municipality accelerator in Sweden, I realized there are plenty of different projects that are going on, and some of them it's difficult to explain. So what I did, I just bring a bunch of kids there and ask project managers to explain what they're doing to them. And then I asked kids to paint it, what they get the explanation, and then I gave back to project managers so they see how did kids accept it, and it's really amazing. I continue to do it with startups, so now when there are different batch of startups in accelerators, I usually bring some kids there, and startups are pitching, and it's really cool, just because you need to explain in an easy way whatever things you do, and then you start to understand it, and people around you start to understand, instead of just like putting a lot of like words that half of people even don't understand. So I believe a lot with connecting kids. I don't think we can teach them a lot, but we can learn a lot from kids. This is my belief.
What do you say, the rest of us? How can we move forward in connecting hubs? I mean, again, we can't just have one Bert-Ola going around the world. We need many people here doing that.
Good mapping. I always recommend start with some mapping, because when you do mapping, then you start to see something and you get to know people. So like a living mapping project, integrate with other who have made maps. And when I say maps, it's like mapping the ecosystems. What we do in Norway, we have set up, it's a global platform, but we do what we call a learning journey continuously. So every week we can plug in events. So that's one reason. So if someone is interested to be part sometime, we can weave into that, and we can weave into other platforms. So if we build these maps on calendars, or a bit of open source calendars, then we can start to because most of these platforms we have 4 elements in our platform. We call the charter, the new accounting system, the playground, which is the new meeting places, digital and physical. The third is the journey and the processes, and that's why you have the calendars and activities. And the fourth is the toolbox for knowledge tools. So if we can map activities and platforms, we could, I think, speed up and amplify networks in a better way. So I'm all in for mapping projects. I see it as a big value.
So yes.
I don't disagree, but to that I would like to add that I think we need to also do this local or small initiatives so things are happening, so we can see results. As you were talking about, Dimitrij, engaging in smaller projects, but really focusing on doing in the local context, because it's become more and more critical that we actually focus on doing, not talking.
Yeah,
definitely.
I want to add just that for me, mapping is doing that's my take on knowledge and action. And for example, in Norway, in the playground, we have 3 elements. The first element is for decision makers to be part, and the second is the knowledge, and the third is to link action. So that's integrated in the way we do things. It's always the linking part in the playground with local activities. So it's a combination of mapping and linking and doing.
Okay, so when you say playground, you mean the context that you're in, that you create together?
In the playground, we have a methodology where we have the policymakers, we have the knowledge in a wider terms, the people and the experts, and we have the entrepreneurs, both in all sectors. So we have all these 3 elements integrated.
Okay. So what I'm thinking here of is like, when doing this, we also get a lot of knowledge, of course, and again, I want to bring back, because we're actually need to value this. I mean, in all sorts of ways, we have to do it, and that makes it a value in itself. Just like you did there, Dimitrij, it's a fantastic idea. I will copy paste it immediately. I really love that one with the. But my question to you is like, how did you get the kids from school? Because all the times that I've been asking for help during school periods, at least, I from the principals, I will always have gotten. I will. Up until now, at least, I've been given a no. So we have to talk more on that, you and I, how you do to get them from the school context for a while to be able to engage. And I also say that, when we value stuff, for instance, finding a role or a function, okay, you can of course invent your own role, like Bert-Ola. I guess you invented that maybe 10, 15 years ago or something, I don't know. But today we need many of those new functions and roles to be able to do this, and we have to value that in the system, and instead of maybe focusing on competition, focusing on co-creation, which is the day-to-day on the ship, how to co-create. What are your thoughts about co-creation, and maybe as a checkout also, we can take that idea on how can we amplify co-creation, what is needed to amplify that, and leave the previous idea of competition behind. Who wants to start? Can we do this as a checkout also? Because I think we have to sum it up in some way. Who wants to go first? Yes, Katarina, again, you have to push the
Well,
button.
yes, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Well, I was sorry, oh, sorry, I lost my thought.
Yeah, no problem. We can pause it for. I can repeat because it was like a bubbly, unformed question. But co-creation as a way of bridging over from
Yes,
competition,
thank you.
from competition to
Yes.
co-creation.
Yes. Okay, thank you for repeating the question. Well, what I see is that I think that co-creation will be more or less necessary because we have to take such a big leaps forward, and there is quite a lot of risk to start thinking and doing things a totally different way than before. So I see it also like a risk sharing thing to co-create together. So I think we will see it even among established companies, not just like innovation hubs, but I think established companies will have to do it in order to be more innovative and move faster forward.
Thank you very much.
And just add on that, a lot of established companies already creating innovation hubs inside of them, and usually move to different hubs just to start to connect, because they realize they need to have this ecosystem that easily integrates in their main business to be able to propose much more better value to the customers. But my personal takeaway, it's really important to start to share. Like we as a group, we should inspire each other. Like what their tools like. For me, it's easier to connect to schools. I can just tell you how the school system works, and when you understand it, it will be easy for you as well. Because if you just connect to the principal in the school, it's not enough. You need to do 2 more steps, and then every school will be open for you. It's like easier. So let's inspire each other and go forward. Just execute those small steps.
Thank you very much. Wow. I like to know those 2 steps that I miss. Well, thanks. Yeah, we have to meet for a lunch or something, Dimitrij, and catch up on that. I really need that superpower of yours. Who wants to? Shall I? I can check out. I would say amplifying is actually what we do right now. We focus on it, and when we focus on it, it just tends to grow, and as it grows, we can also put in more effort and energy into it, and at some point, of course, maybe we have lost the focus again because now it's too big, and then we have to restart. So I think that amplifying is also a process in itself, that you can't like okay, so now we have had this dialogue for 45 minutes, now we have finished it, so but at that point it starts over again, and that it's a continuous ongoing, maybe it's a circular way of working, I don't know, but definitely we have to amplify this.
Yeah, I agree with all of you, but again, I would like to add also we need to involve society and municipalities, because I think we can take different kind of roles. Companies can take one role, municipalities can take another role, and I totally agree with Katarina that no one can solve the challenges on their own anymore. We need to cooperate in new settings, but then again, I think we need to start small and act and do small pilots that we can show results with.
Definitely, and then it gets real for everyone.
Yeah,
you can relate to it. Yeah, I love that. But Ola, I think it's your turn to check out.
I think I agree with all of you, and it's we used the word listen, link, and learn. And when we speak about listening, we listen at both the society level, the policymakers, and the entrepreneurs. So I would say, like a Dimitrij, both on the one hand test a lot, because, for example, in social media, which I've been living in the last 10 years to try to see how things happen, is like to notice things, what's going on, and to go from notice to share with precision. That takes quite a long time. That's a big, it's not just a click, it's just that you need to see the information, the data information, how to get it to knowledge, and then to get to the society level where we had some kind of agreement of shared value for society. That's many steps. So continuous listening to different types of stakeholders and to test a lot in parallel. That's at least what we try to do. And it's not easy. It's different speed in society with, you know, the entrepreneurial hubs, which is going very quickly and very randomly. So how do we design for to enable the sort of entrepreneurial hubs, and how do we get the policy making to work in a more progressive and more updated way? So there are many levels there to work, and that's what's really fun to be a weaver, that you can be in these different fields and find your role there. New knowledge work, I would say.
Thank you, everyone. Everyone I checked out, so I didn't miss anyone now. Yeah. Lotta, thank you very much for this time together. Same to you, Dimitrij, and Katarina, and Bert-Ola, and all of you, of course. And to sum it up in some way, listen. You have to maybe listen more than you talk, I guess. Engage, as we have come back to all. Both myself and engage others. Connect means that if we're going to connect, there must be someone to connect with. So it definitely involves more than myself. And that in itself goes outside competition, because competition doesn't engage people in my world. It's actually in the opposition worldview. So co-creation means, I would say, what we have talked about here, that we need to be open for new ways also, and we could definitely do something together here. And I suggest we take this thread, and if you follow us now on the YouTube, please share this link and engage in the comments. And if you want to connect, Dimitrij is all yours, Lotta's also, Katarina, Bert-Ola, and me. Just write in the comments and we will follow it up. So thank you very much for joining the ship for this topic, and we welcome you back for new topics coming up. And bye, everyone. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a nice day.
Same to you.